Morning, everyone. Welcome to our SWAC football head coaches media session for Monday, November 17th. We'll begin at approximately 10:05 a.m. We will be joined by Coach Shea with Alabama A&M, followed by Coach Robinson with Alabama State, 10:15. Coach Cedric Thomas, Alcorn State at 10:25. Coach Raymond Woody with Bethune-Cookman at 10:35. Coach James Colsey, Florida A&M, will join us at 10:45. Coach Mickey Joseph, Grambling State, will be at 10:55 to start us out. A couple quick updates. We ask you please utilize the raise hand feature to get your questions in the queue. Please limit your questions to one initial question, potentially a follow-up question if we do have additional time allotted in our coach's availability. We also ask that you please ensure that your lines are actively muted, and please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your question. We'll be back momentarily. Thank you for your patience. Additional coaches joining us will be Coach Alonzo Hampton at 11:05, Coach Terrell Buckley with Mississippi Valley State at 11:15, Coach Tremaine Jackson at 11:25, Coach Fred McNair with Southern at 11:35, Coach Chris Dishman with Texas Southern at 11:45, and Coach T.C. Taylor with Jackson State at 11:55. We'll pause here for a minute or two. We'll be back momentarily. Thank you for your patience. All right, once again, if you do have questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Shea with Alabama A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing great, Coach. As always, appreciate you taking time to join us. Coach, if you could start us out with an opening statement, recap your team's most recent outing versus Florida A&M.
Yes, we played Florida A&M for our senior day, last ball game here at Lewis Cruz for this season. Started off the ball game, it was kind of a defensive struggle early. No points scored in the first quarter by us. They actually made a few plays in the second quarter. Went up on us 12-10, and we actually were able to execute a quick 2-minute drive and went down and kicked a field goal, made it 13-12 at halftime. Really close ball game. Came back out in the second half, and it actually kind of went back and forth. And finally, they went up 26-23. We had the ball with a final drive, a 2-minute drive, and really just ran out of time right there in the end. We were trying to get in field goal range. We were trying to get inside the 30. The wind was at our face, so wanted to try to get as close as possible to get that field goal. Just unfortunately, we weren't able to do it. But hat goes off to Coach James Colsey and Florida A&M. It was a hard-fought game, and they came out victorious.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Wayne Cartwright.
Thank you, Andrew. And good morning to you, Coach Shade. How are you?
I'm doing well, Wayne. How about you?
Doing pretty good. So as you prepare to close your opening season at A&M or Alabama A&M, can you provide any additional commentary about some of the things that you've learned additionally about the profession, your program, and yourself ahead of Saturday's finale?
Well, it's definitely been a year that we've definitely learned some lessons through the losses that we've had as a team. And, we look forward to, carrying those lessons forward with us as we move forward. But, this was a tough year for us. We had a lot of injuries that we had to play through. So we definitely learned that we've got to have a next man up mentality. And a lot of our young guys, have learned that, they've got to learn how to work while they wait because they never know when that opportunity is going to come. And it came for a number of our guys this season. So, that's one of the biggest lessons I think we learned is, everybody's got to be ready, when opportunity knocks because it knocked for a lot of guys on our team this year.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you as always, and best of luck to you in Houston this weekend.
All right. Thank you.
This question goes to Perry.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Super fantastic, Coach.
All right.
Coach, at the end of your first season in the SWAC, can you talk about some of your players that you think should be selected for this year's Legacy Bowl?
Well, I know our tight end, Travonta Abner. He's definitely a guy that should be selected. He started off the season really well. Matter of fact, I want to say in the first game of the season against Arkansas, he had like 9 catches for over 100 yards, and was having a good year. And then he broke a bone in his foot after the 4th game of the season, and he was out for like 5 games. And but he's back, he's healthy. Just unfortunate we didn't have him for most of the season, but he's definitely a guy that needs to be selected, I think, for the Legacy Bowl.
Okay. And Andrew, can I follow up since we don't have anyone else in the queue?
Yes, sir.
Coach, talk about NFL prospects that you may have currently on your team.
Well, right now, I think Abner, our tight end, like I said, he was on track to have a big year. And he still put up some decent numbers early on. Like I said, as far as catches and yards and touchdowns and things like that. It was just unfortunate, that we didn't have him. We're in a situation, Quad Brown, our quarterback, obviously, if he had stayed healthy, he would have, been a Legacy Bowl guy. He's actually going to, try to get the medical red shirt and come back next season. So, he wouldn't be a guy for Legacy Bowl or right now, I guess, for, looking at NFL after this season. But we got a number of guys coming back. We got a lot of guys that were, some of our guys didn't make it to the season because of injury. Guy like Duke Miller, one of our top receivers, broke his hand in training camp and didn't play. And Tyrell Lawrence, one of our starting offensive linemen, had a shoulder issue and didn't make it to the season because of that. And so, we're actually looking to get a lot of guys back that I think down the road will, have an opportunity for the Legacy Bowl and possibly some NFL looks.
Great. Thank you so much, Coach, for the entire season, making yourself available to us, and good luck to you this weekend.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a good one.
This question goes to Wayne.
Yeah, Coach, I'll jump back here on this one. Just ask you about this game at Texas Southern on Saturday. You guys making the long trip down there to Houston. Just what are your thoughts about this Texas Southern team, and what would winning this game do for you guys really emotionally as a spring forward into the offseason?
Well, that's what I talked to the team about this morning is, I'm a big believer that you're only as good as your last game. And this will be our last game. And, it's a game that we want to win. We want to go out on a good note. We want to win this game so it helps carry us into the off season and our off season preparation for next season. So it's a really important game. It's just as important as any game that we played on our season. And like I said, because it's the last, I think you're only as good as your last game. And so we'll be working hard for it. Texas Southern, I tell you what, physical football team. Offensively and defensively, they'll get into some 12 personnel and really try to pound you and run the football, things like that. So, actually in this FAMU game, we actually got the running game going. We ran for 230 plus yards and actually held those guys to 92 yards rushing. So those are some things we've been working on, and we got that done in the ball game. We just came up a little bit short. They scored a few more touchdowns than we did. We settled for some field goals. So we want to build on that in this ball game against Texas Southern and take that into the all season.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you as always, and good luck this weekend.
All right. Thank you so much.
Any final questions for Coach? All right, Coach, we do appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you on our final coaches call next Monday.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. All right, we are a minute or two ahead of schedule for Coach Robinson with Alabama State. We'll pause momentarily. Thank you for your patience. Once again, if you do have questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Next up, we will be joined by Coach Robinson with Alabama State. Once again, if you do have questions, please use the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Robinson with Alabama State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing great, Coach. As always, appreciate you taking time to join us. If you could, start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, we went down to Mobile, Alabama, played in the Port City Classic, played Mississippi Valley State, Coach Buckley and those guys. As always, Delta Devils going to play hard, so was able to score first and missed the extra point, and then we scored again, so it was 13-0 at the half. So it was a tight game as we got into the third quarter, and in the third quarter was able to get a touchdown, and then they had a mistake on as far as with their punt team, or the kid dropped the ball, so we was fortunate enough to return it for a touchdown. And so final score was 41-3, but definitely love the effort that both teams played with. It was a great atmosphere. I think both schools are trying to recruit that area, not just football players, but just kids who can come to the university. So it's always great when you can bring SWAC football down to Mobile. And then turning the page of this week, we have Arkansas Pine Bluff at home. And so haven't played them in a couple of years, but have a lot of respect for what Coach Hampton and those guys are doing. So we know we have to be ready to play.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Wayne Cartwright.
Coach Rob, good morning to you.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing very well. So beyond the obvious nature of controlling what you can control on the field against UAPB this week, can you tell us about the difficulty at all of preparing to play a must-win game while knowing you also need help to reach the SWAC title game?
Well, I think last week was probably a little harder because the kids are more watching the scoreboard because their game was before our game. So I think that's when it's difficult. I think this week is pretty easy because we play at 12 noon. So there's no scoreboard to watch. You get up in the morning and you go play football. So I think from that standpoint, we understand that the big picture is we just want to win one more SWAC football game. And I think if you have that small approach, and then you can't control anything else but that. And so just go out there to win the game. And so I think that's been our approach all year. Just win today and control what you can control.
All right, Coach, I appreciate the answer, and good luck to you guys as you close out the regular season in the SWAC.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This question goes to Perry.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Super fantastic, Coach. Happy Founders Day to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Coach, can you talk about what you see on film from this Arkansas Pine Bluff football team?
Yeah, I mean, offensively, man, those guys look very similar to us. I think a lot of the concepts they have, and offensive coordinator Tony Hall, talked with him over the summer and just at a clinic watching him present, and just like what they do offensively. They do a lot of motion, a lot of shifting, a lot of eye candy, and then they're going to run the football after all of that. So for us, we have to have some really good eyes, make sure that we're not having people open when it's the play action and those type of things. And defensively, they have multiple fronts and they get after you. So we know we have to come out there to play. I don't think there's any games in the SWAC that you can underestimate your opponent. So if we don't play well, it's a game that we won't like the outcome of. So we understand that.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you this weekend.
Appreciate it.
Question goes to Tanner Spearman.
Good morning, Coach. Obviously, you've had a couple games now with your backup quarterback, Tashawn, to kind of get him in and get him a couple starts to get him more into rhythm. Assuming that Andrew's not going to be back again this week, what have you seen from Tashawn, and how has he, gotten into that starting position and kind of gotten going?
I mean, he's a leader, and so he came here to compete for the starting position. That was his expectation of himself, and so, like I told him, it's not that he didn't do the things well in training camp. It's just that Andrew Body started off so hot against UAB, he didn't get a chance to really have an in-game competition. So, but I think from week to week, he's improving on the small things of getting us in the right play, making sure that he's getting the right reads, and threw an interception this past week. And nobody's going to be perfect, but I think he's moving in the right direction to say he hasn't had a lot of snaps. And so I told him, I said, hey, you're on week 2 and everybody else is on week 8 and 9. So he has to play a little bit of the mental catch-up aspect of it. So, but he stays after. He works hard. He's meeting extra with Coach Barnett. So he's doing everything that you want out of a starting quarterback.
And just to be sure, Coach, is Andrew still out this week?
He's still working. I mean, he's progressing. We expect him to start throwing and everything like that. So everything's moving in the direction of him being able to play. I just can't say exactly when. I don't know how he'll look this week to make a decision one way or the other.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
This question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach, I'll jump back in and I'll ask you this question. So can you provide any additional commentary about some of the things that you've learned this season about just the profession and just more things about yourself as a coach as you get ready for this last regular season game in the SWAC?
Yeah, so I do a recap at the end of every year. I think you have to constantly try to improve. I talk to other coaches, talk to TC Taylor, Coach Huff, guys that have won championships. I talk to guys that didn't do well, who were let go. And so to me, I'm always trying to learn of how I can get to be a better coach. And so I haven't gotten to the details of reviewing the whole year. And it was kind of funny to ask because I was briefly looking at some of my notes from this year. But probably within the first week after the season, I'll really sit down and go game by game and say, hey, how could I have gotten better? Was my schedule the right way? How could we improve on those really small things? So I'm a big note taker, and I just believe in journaling and writing down things and trying to improve. So I guess to specifically answer your question, I think for us, we've played better in November. So I think going from after the Magic City Classic, getting that right mix of how much do you practice? Do you cut back on practice to make sure the guys are fresh? And I think in the past, we've probably practiced a little bit too hard in the month of November. So we were a little better at that. And I think the results of where the guys are out there playing a little bit fresher, a little bit more pep. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Coach. Good
Yep.
luck again against UAPB.
Appreciate it.
This question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Going well. How's it going?
It's going. Hey, got a quick question for you. A little bit off the beaten path, but can you talk about you played Prairie View, you coach now against Tremaine. Can you talk about just kind of what you see from his team, his program, and what's impressed you maybe most about him and what he's been able to do in this first year?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's made a lot of progress in 1 year with the turnover of the players and just getting everybody to buy in. So just love the way he's preaching the message and getting it to soak into the young men. I mean, we know as coaches it will soak in eventually, but we don't know if it's going to take 6 months, 1 year, a year and a half, 2 years. But I think he's done a great job of getting everybody to follow in the mindset of the head coach. And one thing I tell my players, you got to learn your head coach. Like, you have to know what the expectations of the head coach are. And he's doing a good job of having those kids to understand what his expectations are as a head coach. And I think if you can get that done, the sooner you can get it done, I think the better chance you have to win. So he's been doing a great job.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speak to you again next week.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I think somebody beat me to the punch, but happy Founders Day to all the men of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we are a minute or two ahead of schedule for Coach Thomas. We'll pause momentarily. Thank you for your patience. All right, once again, if you have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Cedric Thomas with Alcorn State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, appreciate you taking time to join us. If you could start us off with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Grambling State.
Yes, sir. Had opportunity to play against a really good, hot Grambling State football team, and had it started out pretty good. Started out fast. We wanted to start out fast. Kind of started implementing the Fast Friday, and so far so good. Offensively, they came out and gave us a spark. Got some points early. Defense made some stops, and we knew it was going to be a full-quarter game. And they came out that second half, and defense stymied us down. That third quarter, and got a big-time turnover, so it was back and forth, and they got the lead. It was just good to see the guys have some resolve, and that SOD got the rocking, and the atmosphere was electric, and so we was able to pull it out down the stretch. So really good football team, really good football game. It was just good to come out with a win.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach Thomas, how are you today?
Oh, I'm blessed. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, and got a chance to see you do a little bit of dancing after the game on Saturday. It was good to see you in a good mood after a big win. But my question for you today, how are you framing this game, or how do you plan to frame this game against Jackson State with your team to help them embrace being the underdog and use it as motivation?
48-10, and it's a rival.
Easy enough. Easy enough. Appreciate that, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, sir.
Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. just mentioned Happy Founders Day to the men of Omega Psi Phi. Would that include you as well, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Happy Founders Day to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Coach, talk about the impact of this upcoming game and what a victory could mean for your program moving into next season.
You're not just a winning season, but just this journey that, I've been on with these young men and this coaching staff, man. Didn't start out the way we started or wanted to start, but, to see the resolve and the fight within these young brothers and also the coaching staff to be able to just pull it up the real, it mean everything, for them. Just to right the wrongs from 365 days, a year ago, there's a lot to do with it. So it's going to be a lot of pride on the line. They understand the rivalry, and we got an opportunity to play a really good football team, a really good sound football team that's electric, and that's a champion. So we get a chance to really play, somebody, if that's a phrase or what have you. So I know our guys will be ready, but it's just good to be able to have one more and go in playing well.
And as a follow-up, Tolbert has been really playing well, Coach, and we talked about this last week. And can you talk about what going out on a 5-game victory, 5 games in a row winning, would mean for him going into next season?
That'll be huge. He texted me after the game about, taking a chance on him, which we didn't see it was a chance, being taken on him. We felt like he was a good football player, but just putting some, foundational pieces around him. And so he's been excelling. That's huge. And I think he understands what the rivalry looked like, so I think that'll springboard him, into the all season with a lot of confidence playing if we can, beat this really good football team. And so I think it'll be huge for the psyche of everybody in the building, and so we understand what happened last year. That's the battle cry, for us, just from a pride standpoint, because, even at SWAC Media Day, I still had to hear about the score and, the Jackson game. So, we got some wrongs we got to right, and, some bragging rights, from the state of Mississippi that we got to be able to accomplish. And so we're going to be up for it, and, can't wait to get opportunity to get out on the grass and get ready for this football game coming up.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you this weekend.
Appreciate it, sir.
This question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Oh, I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm doing great. Hey, I know it's still a little bit early, but, in this world of the transfer portal and NIL and all of this, is it still too early, or have you started to kind of look at some of your players and just based on how they've developed and kind of knowing that, okay, I might lose this kid, or this is what I might need going into the recruiting season? Have you already started that process of kind of, in your mind, sort of knowing you got some guys that maybe could move on, and how do you deal with that?
No, I haven't. Right now the main thing is Jackson State. Starting out the way we started, you can't focus on anything but, trying to get it, in the road. And now that we got it in the road, now we got to maintain it in the road. So, both hands on the steering wheel. We're looking directly down the center, right down the middle. So we'll deal with it once we get to the end of the road, but right now, only thing we're preparing for is, a Jackson State football team.
Okay. So, but when you get to that point, once the season's over, how does that evaluation, conversation go? How do you talk to your kids? How do you advise them at that point?
Well, it started, with coordinators. Each position coach has to talk to, their student athletes, and then they go to the coordinators. And, behind the scenes, I would talk to the coordinators, about not only on the field, but off the field also. That's a major part. It ain't just the X's and O's, it's the behavior, in the classroom and in the community. And so once we put our litmus together that we're going to use that rubric to be able to judge, whether we want to retain a student athlete or not, then it's the student athlete opportunity to meet with each one of us. And then we'll sit down, talk to moms and dads, and we'll make the best decision for them and also the program.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Appreciate it.
Sir, thank you. We are ahead of schedule, so we'll pause momentarily. We'll be back at approximately 10:35 with Coach Woody with Bethune-Cookman. Thank you for your patience.
It's the Browns. They never give anybody time. They don't have any.
All right, next up, we have Coach Raymond Woody with Bethune-Cookman. Once again, if you do have questions for our coaches, please utilize raise hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Woody with Bethune-Cookman. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. If you could, Coach, start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Jackson State.
I had an opportunity to go to Jackson, Mississippi. Went down there and we had a good game plan. Obviously we won the toss in the beginning and JSU went up and then we countered that with the 99-yard kickoff return. And then it was just going, back and forth. We ended up kicking 2 field goals after they scored to go into half 13-14, and then we came out third quarter, they scored, and then we ended up, throwing an interception. They ended up scoring on the last possession that we was going in to try to tie the game up. So we went down 13-28. Hat goes definitely off to Coach TC Taylor. Those guys finished the game, and we came up short.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Woody. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
So, with a victory in the Florida Classic, you guys would finish 6-6. What would that mean to you personally? Also, what would it mean to the administration and the fan base moving into the offseason?
Well, we've come a long way. Obviously, just building this program the right way, and like I said, the guys are, they're excited, and we're excited as well.
All right, Coach. Appreciate that. Good luck down there in Orlando.
Thank you.
This question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach.
Hey, how you doing?
Super fantastic, Coach.
That's good.
At this time of year, you start looking at recruiting. Talk about what your emphasis will be in recruiting this year for next year's version of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats.
Well, obviously, you have to take what you're given, when you have those end of the year meetings with the guys, you don't know who's going to remain or who's going to leave. But, up front, we're going to go out and recruit, guys on the O-line and the D-line. Obviously, in the state of Florida, you can find skilled guys in Georgia, all over the country. But, those guys up front are tough to find.
Yes, absolutely, Coach, especially at the FCS level. That's usually where we fall short up front.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
about this this upcoming Florida Classic and what you see from this year's version of the Rattlers on film.
Well, I tell you what, Coach Cozy, a really good friend. He's got them going. I mean, they're definitely a talented team. I mean, obviously, is doing a good job getting those guys to play for, one another. It's going to be a good showing. I mean, they're a tough football team.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to you this week.
Thank you.
Question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
How you doing, Ms. Harris?
All right. Hey, along the lines you were talking about the recruiting and having those conversations and trying to figure out what kids are going to be there and who may move on. I mean, do you, as a head coach, looking at some of your kids and just kind of how they've developed? I mean, do you already kind of mentally know, that you might, what kids you may lose, and how do you kind of prepare to deal with that?
Well, you really don't know. That's why you got to keep recruiting. Recruiting is fluent. You can't just look at one number and say, hey, I need this number. I mean, you got to have a list of guys that you go out and recruit. And like I said, things happen perfectly. Then obviously those additional guys are a bonus, but you just never know. It's fluent, so you just got to go and look at, the depth charts and fill in numbers where needed and almost like, over recruit, because you just never know.
Yeah. What about stability wise? I mean, how does that work for the program and being able to build? I mean, back in the day, you used to know, okay, you have a good foundation and you can build towards that for the next season. But nowadays, it almost, you don't know what you're going, what you're going to have back the next from year to year. How does that work with stability?
Well, I mean, it's just tough these days and times, and you just got to, like I say, get the trust of the guys, build it the right way. And even sometimes when you do that, that still doesn't work, So it's just you have to always be ahead of the game.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
This question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach Woody, I want to jump back in. I want to ask you about the suspended players from Saturday. With that, I just want to ask, how much of an impact did you see of the suspended players on the performance of your team? And then I want you to clarify something, because a lot of people were asking. We saw a gentleman wearing jersey number 11, but that wasn't Washburn wearing 11, was it?
No.
Okay. So just the impact of the players that were suspended, what did that have on your team?
Oh, you mean you said the first half it was no, it was not him first half. We got a number 11 on offense as well.
Okay. All right. And just overall, just in the whole game, the players that you did have suspended, like did that have like a major impact in your eyes on the performance of your team against Jackson State?
Well, we use the mentality the next man up. I mean, those guys pretty much knew, what it was, and our guys came in and did what they were supposed to do, so it wasn't a major impact.
All right, Coach. I appreciate that. Good luck again in the Florida Classic.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Perry.
Coach, can you talk about where your program is today compared to your vision of where this program would be at this time when you took this job in 2023?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, the guys, when you look at certain aspects of, the student part / athlete, in the situations where and you inherit APR restrictions on probation. Now you're at the point now where you're off probation because those guys handle business in the classroom. And, that's a big deal, when you a limited amount of hours to practice a week. And now, you turn the corner now, you got, the program back where it needs to be for us in the classroom. And that's where it starts. And they know what they expect instead of coming in not knowing what they expect, and pretty much teaching these guys that, hey, we want a player-led team, and you have to teach them how and why it should be that way, because we're not going to be with you every single moment and got so many distractions. So, I think now the guys understand what they expect. When I took over, they didn't know what they expect. They were feeling their way out, like the simple things of on time mean late, no shirts tucked in, everybody wearing the same colors, just those things that you have to put in place so those guys understand it's not all about me, it's about we.
And this is like where you figured they would be in year 3 of the program?
Yes, sir.
Great job, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any final questions? Coach Woody, as always, we appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we go over to Florida A&M. Coach Colsey, once again, if you do have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Colsey with Florida A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, boss. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. And as always, thank you for your time. If you could start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Alabama A&M.
Obviously, you talk about going on the road quite a bit, and able to come away with the victory. Made a couple more plays, I guess, than they did, but they played their tails off on their senior night. But obviously, RJ going 20 for 24, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air and 1 on the ground. Led us to a victory. But too many big plays on defense, which could put us in a tough spot with the explosive offense that Bethune-Cookman is going to be bringing to Campbell Ward Stadium in Orlando this upcoming weekend.
Get those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach Colsey, how are you today, sir?
Hey, Wayne, how you doing, boss?
Doing very well. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
So, Coach, the standards that exist down there at FAMU with the bar being set so high with the expectations from your fans and alums, what would a win this Saturday over Bethune-Cookman and ultimately finishing 7-5, what would that mean to you in just the whole realm of the expectations?
Well, I mean, I think, the opportunity to not be a part of any of the SWAC championship conversations, those are the things that we talk about year in and year out. And we talked about that as an assistant when I was an assistant with under Coach Simmons, and obviously, these last 2 years as being the head coach. That's the expectation. You know what I mean? And those are great expectations to have. But obviously, the other parts they talk about is, you can't lose homecoming and you can't lose the Florida Classic, right? So those are things that, again, always spoken about, always discussed. Obviously, you want to win this game because it's the next game, but there's a lot of historical factors involved in this game, and a lot of great coaches that have coached in this game, a lot of great players. that are playing this game. So, I think that's just in the landscape right now, biggest thing for me is making sure this week some of our guys that don't necessarily understand the significance of this game, making sure that they do that. So, obviously big game for us because it's the next one, but there are obviously a lot of other factors that we have to deal with, especially playing a very, very good Bethune-Cookman team.
All right, Coach. I'll yield to Perry. If I have time, I'll come back with a follow-up.
Sounds good.
Question goes to Perry.
Appreciate that, Wayne. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, Perry, what's up, boss?
Going well, Coach. Coach, can we talk about what you see on film from this Bethune-Cookman Wildcat football team?
Electric. They have the ability to take one the distance, man, at any given time. A lot of these guys that are doing it this year, it's not a surprise for me because they did it last year. You know what I mean? So they got a very talented bunch. Coach Woody's done a really, really good job of getting this team where it needs to be, and we're gonna have our work cut out for us, especially on the offensive side, just because of what they do with the football. And you just can't take for granted what they're doing on offense because they do a great job, special teams wise, is getting them guys the ball, getting them different, getting their guys touches at any time, and those are things that we got to make sure we take care of. And I know our defensively they're very opportunistic. We can't put the ball on the ground. They also do a very, very good job of getting turnovers, and it's going to be a great football game. They normally are, but for us specifically, man, we got to make sure we keep some things in front, not allow some of the big plays that we've done throughout the season.
Congratulations on last week's victory, Coach. I didn't mean to overstep that.
It's okay. It's okay. I appreciate it. It's tough. You either you win or you lose, right? And that's what it is. But you can't. You got to make sure you get ready for the next one. That's where we're at right now.
Good luck to you this week, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Question goes to Wayne.
All right, Coach. You guys recently just named a new athletic director down there. Have you had a chance to meet with the new athletic director extensively yet? If you have, can you share what that was like?
Well, no, John played at Florida State. He was a defensive back before my time. But him and I, we've had discussions over the last 30 years, man. There's obviously a certain creed that you have when you're a defensive back at Florida State. But have not had a sit down conversation per se. But obviously, know his pedigree. We know where he comes from, and obviously, hopefully. He'll do a really, really good job once he starts. I have extreme confidence in everything that he's going to do. Excited that he is going to be joining us, but I think January 5th is his start date, and so we'll see once he gets here.
Okay, and then I'll just ask you this: can you provide any additional commentary about the things that you've learned here in this second season about your profession? Just your program and just yourself personally as you prepare for this next game against Bethune-Cookman?
Well, I think, the new landscape, right? The new landscape and, the way recruiting is going, man, it's got to be a complete buy-in, whether it's a financial piece, whether it's the player piece, whether it's the structure piece. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to be in place, you know what I mean? And to just run a successful program. And you may still have all of those things in place and still not have success, right? So, but just, there's got to be a complete buy-in, and I think that's the biggest thing that, not just saying as the head coach at Florida A&M, but just across the country, and so, personally, making sure you got to get your guys ready to play every week. That's a thing that, you have to continue to have, and you can't let it fester, right? Obviously we are probably a different football team than we are now, at the beginning of the year compared to where we are now. But I think at the end of the day, man, at this day and age, man, it's got to be a complete buy-in from the top down to possibly have the success that you may need to have at the institution you may coach at.
I appreciate you as always, Coach. Good luck this week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
This question goes to Ty Miller.
Hi, Coach. Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, Ty, what's going on?
I'm good, Coach. Can you reflect on last year's game with Bethune-Cookman, going back and forth and ultimately going down to the last play? And also, how much has, in your opinion, Bethune-Cookman improved from last year until this year?
Well, I think last year, we had just gotten upset, right? So we were, trying to figure out a way to get ourselves going together and get ourselves ready for this type of football game. Probably it was a lot high score, if I remember correctly, 41-38. We probably thought, the points that were scored last year were maybe a little bit more than we may have thought. But I think they had a big punt return for a touchdown, and they hit a big deep ball right before the half that really, really changed momentum. And when we were struggling with our kicking game, we had lost our starting kicker, so we were worried about where we were going to kick the ball because of how electric they were back there as far as the returners go. So we ended up giving them great field position. I think in a lot of the possession that they had, we were able to establish our running game, and that ultimately put us over the top in a very high-scoring football game. You look at it this year, could be a similar facet as far as the points go. You're hoping not, but they've done a really, really good job of getting the ball to their athletes, and having those 1-2 play drives that are going for 70, 80 yards, right? But they're still continuing to get the ball to their playmakers. Coach Woody's done a really, really good job of getting those guys going, and it looks like he's trying to make sure that his playmakers get the ball as much as they can. I think the defensive side has really, really improved as well. He's got some size. He's done, you're looking at a lot of the guys that are returning and players that have, the players that have had success this year. These are some of the same guys that had success last year. So he's doing a really, really good job of retaining the people that he would like to have on his roster. So, he's done a really, really good job of doing that. I know he's in year 3, and he's been really, really stoked as far as what he's done. He's keeping the guys and getting the guys doing what he's asking them to do. That's just a credit to him. I know he's done a great job as a head coach. I know he's been at some really, really some other places and had success at some other places. So, I'm not excited that they're a damn pretty good football team this upcoming Saturday. We have our work cut out for him, but it's definitely a credit to him and everything that he's been doing over there going into obviously finishing year 3 for him.
Andrew, do I have time for a follow-up?
Yes, sir.
Coach, also, looking back maybe 3-4 weeks ago at best, there was a lot of talk about the direction of the FAMU program, but now you've righted the ship. What has taken place in that time that has led to you being on the brink of a 7-5 season?
I think the improvement of our quarterback play, man. I mean, our conference is predicated off of that, man. And a lot of the good teams are the guys that have their quarterbacks in place and are doing a really, really good job. RJ Johnson, like I said, this past week, he went 20 for 24 for 299 yards. He threw for 3 touchdowns and then ran for another one, right? I mean, if he has that kind of day, the first game of the year, right? Our record's probably sitting at a little bit of a different clip, right? And obviously some of the games we may have played in earlier. So I think the quality of our quarterback play has improved. Therefore, our team has improved. And you're not playing North Carolina Central. You're not playing Alabama State. No discredit to everyone else, but those are some of the top teams in the country where, that we had to play early in the year. Now, you're getting yourself into your conference play where guys are really, really understanding that, week by week, you have to continue to improve. But, and you also have to play together. And, we talk about finishing all the core values that we've spoken about throughout the year to come to fruition, because playing in the SWAC week by week, it's a grind. And it's really about the best team that you're going to have for that individual Saturday. So I think we've done a good job of getting our guys going, done a good job of understanding that it's a process. And, we haven't necessarily had any bye weeks. So we've done everything that we could throughout the week just to make sure we get them to Saturday. So, I mean, I think that's just been some of the things we've done with our staff, with our medical staff, with everybody that's in this building, right? So, excited about where we are. Obviously, we talked about making sure we finish at 7-5. That's not necessarily the record that I thought we would have at the beginning of the year, but that's the best possible record that we can have at the end of the year. So we're trying to make sure we do everything that we could to make sure that happens.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely.
Coach, appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Hey, appreciate everyone, and good luck to everybody this weekend.
Sure. Thank you. Next, we go over to Grambling State and Coach Joseph. Once again, if you do have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Joseph with Grambling State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, sincerely appreciate you taking time to join us. If you could, start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Alcorn State.
Well, we had our chances on Saturday to put the game away. We went up 16-14. Went under about 7 minutes to go in the game. We got to get a stop on defense, but also we got to execute better against, defense that's give us, unscouted looks. That's looks that we haven't seen in a while. So we got to do a better job of executing against things like that. But I got to do a better job in getting that quarterback ready. But we just got to make stops. You got to make one stop. We knew we were down. We knew that the suspensions was going to hit our rotation, and that showed it. But I take my hat off to Alcorn. They took advantage of the situation, and they played solid football. They got a really good football team over there, and they're getting healthy, and they hot, and Sad's doing a great job with that football team, and they're well rounded. They were solid in all three phases, and they won the game, and you got to take your hat off to them.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Perry. How you doing?
Super fantastic, Coach. Happy Founders Day to you.
I appreciate you.
Coach, any update on TSET?
Well, because of the HIPAA law,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to comment on it, coming from, my administration, coming from his family. I'm not allowed to comment on it. We just want to make sure everybody keeps him in and keep him in you guys' prayers. And we just got to keep praying for him right now because we don't know much. So we don't know much, and I'm not really allowed to really. If I did know, I couldn't tell you.
Fair enough.
Because the HIPAA law, and so it's different. But we're gonna keep praying for him.
Okay. Can we talk about what the off week looks like as you prepare the Grambling Tigers for this year's version of the Bayou Classic?
Well, we're going to get some coaches out on the road. We're going to try to heal up a little bit. We're going to try to get some extra reps with the young quarterback, and we'll get some of our guys back. So we'll work all the way up until Thursday, and give them all Friday, Saturday, and get them back in here Sunday. But we'll do basically just do some self scouting, to making sure that we're not repeating the same mistakes over and over again, and kind of meet with some of the young guys who's going on like they fourth game as a red shirt to make sure that they're solid in their last game, and that they we still be able to get their red shirt on them, and do things of that sort. But it's going to be basically try to focus on us, and then give time to Southern. Give time to Southern. Everybody understands the magnitude of this game, and it's a great game. It's one of the best games I've ever been in. And it's like I always tell people, families are divided for 3 hours. And then once the 3 hours are up, the families come back together. And that's how we look at Southern. I know we look like it's a rival, but we have friends over there. They have friends over there. So we're going to battle for 3 hours. And after 3 hours is over, we're going to go back to being one big family from Louisiana.
Thank you, Coach. You talked about the great job that Coach Thomas is doing up on the reservation, Coach.
Yes.
You have done a phenomenal job where you are as well.
Thank you.
This question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach Joseph, how's everything today?
We're good, Wayne. He woke me up this morning. He woke me up. So when he wakes me up, I got to wake up to get this thing going. And appreciated that I'm able to sit in this chair and be a part of some of these young men's lives and continue to help them grow as young men. So every morning I wake up, I always thank God for waking me up and make me a better person, because God's still working on me. And I'll never forget that. But at the end of the day, I also know He's going to be the one to judge me. So I appreciate you guys. You guys have been wonderful to me.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And my question for you today is just it's just kind of simplistic in its nature, because you guys are heading into a bye week, as Perry had mentioned. But just, can you talk about the wave of emotions, man? This has been a ride this year for you guys, where you've had close wins over, Kentucky State and East Texas A&M, and you've had, ups, you've had downs, you've had injuries, you've had suspensions. Just what have you learned from this whole experience this deep into your coaching career?
Well, I learned one thing, that I'm responsible for the way these young men think and look at society. So I always say my aggressive nature, I shouldn't put that upon them, and I always regret, what happened. I regret what happened. And I tell myself I need to be a better role model for them. But I always tell them, sometimes I'm the best role model for them, because I'm a role model that can admit fault and work to get better at it. And I tell people all the time, You know, the roller coaster that we've been on. Well, my mom always tell me, God's not gonna give me no more than I can handle, and that's how I go in it. You know, like we always grew up. My daddy always raised us, all three Joseph boys, to not to fear. Don't have fear in you. You know, don't have fear. Be anxious, but don't have fear in you. So we grew up fearless. You know, it's like it's not too many things that scare us because he was a kid. He was a guy that grew up 12th grade education, was a Vietnam veteran. But he grew up with hey, you can't have fear. You can't be a grown man and have fear in you. You got to be careful. You got to be anxious, but you can't have fear. And I tell my kids that these players. It's a roller coaster ride, but he's not going to give us too much that we can handle. And I take my hat off to my coaches and to my players because we have been on a ride. We are playing with our fourth-string quarterback, but we also say this: well, who cares? We got to go out and win the football game. And every game that we've had this year since I've been here, we had a chance to be in it, except us the Lafayette game last year and the Ohio State game this year. Every game we've been around, we had a chance to win it. So we pulling in the right direction. We pulling in the right direction because we looked at on Saturday. At one point, we had 9 underclassmen out there, freshmen and sophomores, at one point in the game on offense. So we know we're going to be a pretty good team. We just got to take step by step. But like I said, I appreciate you guys. You guys been positive with us. My kids really love when I'm on this show. And I take my hat off to you guys. I really appreciate you guys.
Hey, well said, Coach. And congrats to your brother also for another great performance yesterday.
Yeah, he wasn't too happy about those spot fouls. He said it don't make sense that they can throw the ball up and get a 60-yard spot foul, and then when the receiver pushes off, he only gets 15 yards. So he's a little biased this morning.
Well, appreciate you as always, Coach. And
Thank you.
We'll talk Bayou Classic next week.
Always, sure we will. Thank you.
This question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Terrence, how you doing?
I'm good. Hey, got a question. As in this NIL transfer portal world, at what point as a coach do you start to evaluate, and look at kids and how they've developed and maybe you start to understand or come to that moment of clarity of I might not have this kid next year. He might be moving on. When does that point come and how do you deal with that?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. I started receiving calls about my kids about week 3.
Really?
And by week 3 and asking about certain kids, asking about this kid, asking about that kid, my young kids, so coaches kind of talk. They'll send information to the high school coaches, but we start evaluating probably around week 4, the JUCO week, because we'll do JUCOs first and then we'll get to the transfer portal. Once the portal opens, we'll get a list of kids that's in it. But it's always communication. It's always communication. And I tell them all the time, guys are always communicating with these kids. Now these kids have agents, so there's no rules on these agents. These agents can contact whoever they want to contact. But we start evaluating about week 4 of the JUCO, and then in January, that's when we'll bring our high school kids in. So we have a plan, but you start about the full week with JUCOs and start evaluating them and see how many you're gonna lose. Now we have an idea of kids we're gonna lose. Because that's going to happen every year. And not just on my team, in the SWAC and the MEAC. When these kids ball out in these places, you go to these Power 5 schools who have unlimited dollars. So, the only person that really loses in this is the SWAC, the MEAC schools, because the kid gets money, the school gets a good player, and who's left without? Who's left without? We are. So we lose in this situation. And that's why I always say, if they're going to take them, they need to have a little buyout. And I think that's fair. I think that's fair. But you know what? I think that's fair because if you look at the whole situation, like I'm going to look at it, and I know I say some things that some people want to say. The school wins, the kid wins, but we don't win.
Yeah.
If we
and how
nothing,
difficult
I mean, some people not going to say it, but it's the truth.
Right, definitely. I mean, and as a coach, though, I mean, and at the FCS level, at the SWAC, in the SWAC and MEAC, how difficult is it to really, build continuity this way? I mean, it just seems like from year to year, you have, and they're taking the best of the best.
Taking the best of it. Well, you got to have a culture in your locker room, and you got to kind of set it with the head coach, and once they get in here, now you got to try to see how can you get a player led program. So you have some of your kids in here that's what I call program kids that's going to be here 3 or 4 years. So they kind of know the culture that you want, but it's got to be consistent about what we do. So we try to be consistent around down here. In case we get a kid in the portal, okay, listen, when it's a meeting, we always like 2 to 3 minutes before he comes in. Things of that sort. So you try to keep the program kids alive, but you got to have a certain thing set with your culture because you're getting so much, turnover with your roster. That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. So you talked about Bayou Classic. We know it's the bye week, and you talked about for 3 quarters, you're not family, but then you go back to it. That's a true statement. I'm a Southern grad, but I got
Yes,
a
I know
lot of
you.
friends
There you go.
that are Grambling nights.
Yeah.
But I try to keep the balance. So outside of the win, because everybody wants to win, both Southern and Grambling, we know the
Yes.
records go out the window when this game comes down
You
to
must
it.
have been in my team meeting yesterday because I said that exact to my team yesterday. I said that to them.
I'm a plant in the team meeting.
Oh, I got to
Coach,
watch that.
outside of the W, what else are the players looking forward to? Because we know you try to keep the kids' heads in the game. It's a lot going on in New Orleans at that time. What are you telling these kids to keep their head in the game? Because you've had a pretty strong season. Outside of the losses, you had a pretty strong season going towards. It's like y'all start clicking at the right times.
Yes.
What are the coaches telling these guys to make sure they finish this season strong?
Well, we also tell them, we always talk around here about blocking out the noise. Block out the noise. And I'm up front and I'm truthful with them that this can be a dog and pony show if we allow it. If we go in here and we start looking around and say, "Oh no, we're there to play the football game," and I give them the schedule. We get there Thursday. We're going to eat some Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to get up on Friday. We're going to go to the Saints facility, and then right after that, we're going to go to the banquet. We're going to leave the banquet. We're going to go walk through the Superdome. So there's a lot of things leading up to the game. And we just up front with our kids, like, this is what we're here to do. We're here to win the football game, and we can't get involved. We call it the sideshow. We tell them that we can't get involved with that. And so far, our kids have done a great job. But, we look forward to this game because, like I tell the kids, this is one of the most viewed games in college football, not just in HBCU, in college football. This game's going to be aired all overseas. This game's going to be everywhere because everybody knows about the Bayou Classic. And I told them I played in all 3. I played in the Magic. I played in the one with Jackson State and Alcorn, Alabama State A&M. This is by far the better one. It's just my opinion. And I'm not saying it because I'm from Marrero, because of the atmosphere and because of the coverage that you're going to get for this game. This is a well-organized game, and this is a big-time game for viewers. And so it's big. So we have constant conversations with them.
All right, well, Coach, good luck. They won't get caught in the sideshow because they are the main show.
Thank
I won't
you.
be biased, but
I need you to come speak to my team. I know you're a Southernite, but I need you to come speak to my team because
I am the most unbiased person ever. I will, but good luck, and I'll see you in New Orleans, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
I appreciate you, and good luck to you guys this week.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
We go over to Arkansas Pine Bluff and Coach Alonzo Hampton. Once again, questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. Please limit your questions to one initial question if there are already additional questions in the queue, and please wait to be acknowledged prior to asking your question. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Hampton with UAPB. Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Coach, as always, thank you for joining us. If you could start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Prairie View A&M.
Yeah, we went down to Houston, drove over to Prairie View, played a really good team in Prairie View. Coach Jackson's done a great job, and didn't start out well. Had a slow start to the game. Well, we got to stop first drive, 4th down, and then we go out there. Our quarterback gets hurt. Second play of the game, he's done. Messed up his shoulder, just kind of fell on it wrong. And then, we were kind of with our second string quarterback. He came in, took him a couple drives to get moving. And, they were able to get a 14-0 lead. And then, once we settled in, we drove it down in the red zone, had 1st and goal from the 9, we were able to get a field goal. It was 28-3 at half, but we still felt like we were in the game. Didn't play as bad. Then we come out after half, score within 2 plays, 28-9. Then we do an onside kick and get it. I mean, they said we didn't, but it's obviously from the film we got it. And that just kind of, that took the momentum we had from scoring. And then, like I said, Coach Jackson guys did a really good job, man. So hats off to him. Well done. And so we're on to the next one.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach Hampton, how are you today, sir?
Doing great.
So, Coach, this has been a really a big wave of emotions for you guys this year with some of the really good wins and some of the big defeats. What is the close of this third season taught you more about the profession, your program, and just really yourself as you get ready for this last game at Alabama State on Saturday?
Well, for us personally, as a head football coach, you go back and you evaluate, hey, man, how do we win in Houston? I played in Houston 4 times. In every game, we've been down big. The only one we won my first year, we're down 31-9 against Texas Southern, came back to win 34-9. And so you're talking about a 9-hour trip, man. We leave at 4 a.m. And you get there, you try to do a walkthrough. Just the legs is, man, we got to change some things, the way we go about when we have to play down there back to back, twice in a year. Give our kids a little more rest. You got to cut practice. It's a lot of things as a head coach, man, because what we're doing is not working. And our kids are kind of, when we play in Houston, been slow starters. And so we kind of figured out some things. We're going to try to do some things different this week. We got to go to Alabama State. It's another 7-hour ride for us. So you're talking about 8 hours on the bus. And then you're talking about leaving on Friday. So we're working through it, man. So, hey, the school teacher in me, you just take a lot of notes and you figure out, man, how do you get better? And so those are the things that we're working on.
Coach, I appreciate the very transparency in that answer and appreciate you as always. So good luck in this last regular season game there this weekend.
All right. Appreciate you, my man.
Question goes to Perry.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, can you talk about where your program is currently compared to where you thought it would be at this time when you took this head coaching job at UAPB?
Yeah, man, we're in my opinion, and it doesn't really matter what I think. But when I took over a program, you talking about a program that was dead last. We were dead. We were dead in academics. We were dead in the way that the kids responded in the community. And the product on the field wasn't very good. And so I prayed for the job. I was able to get the job. It had over like maybe 100 applicants. And I knew, because I had been here before, this is a lot of work. And I knew it and I wanted it. And I'm glad that they gave me the opportunity. And so we built this thing from the ground up. Like you had to come in here. I did not, if you go back and look, when I took the job, I did not cut a player. Okay. Every player that left on their own. And so I'm building a program, and that's my mindset as a school teacher. I think we talk about HBCUs and we're about giving opportunities, right? And so I hear guys come in, oh, I'm going to get rid of this guy. That's not what we do here. And I wasn't going to do it. And I was going to lead with love. And so we were able to keep those guys the first year. Now the guys that left, they left on their own. And I was honest with them, like, hey, man, you have a scholarship. I'm not going to take your scholarship. If you go to class, you do the right things, you come to practice, be a good citizen, I'll let you keep your money. I want you to graduate because it's about that. And I said, I just truly believe that over the time, if you do right by people, then they're eventually going to do right by you. And my higher calling is to do right by young men and women. And so that's why I don't worry about where we're at, because we've grown every year. We I think we've been picked last every year, but we haven't finished last yet. And even this year, we were picked dead last. The second place team in our conference, we beat them. Grambling had a chance, should have won that game. And we got babies. So we're doing it the right way. We're going to continue to recruit high school players in this state, surrounding 4 or 5 hours. And so I think we're headed in the right direction. And again, we're just a few plays away from being at least maybe 6-5, 5-6. But again, we are where we are. But I'm excited about where we're at, and I'm excited about the opportunity to say I'm the head coach of UAPB. And so that gives me joy. And I tell people I can lay down at night and I say, you know what, I did my very best. And I know I'm making people that believe in me proud. My family's proud. My mentors are proud. I hope the university is saying, man, this is the guy we want to lead this football team. So I'm thankful. Great question.
Coach, thank you for that answer. I am going to disagree on your opinion doesn't matter because self-respect is the most important respect. Great job, Coach. Good luck to you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Question goes to Tanner.
Good morning, Coach. So, looking at that quarterback position and who's going to possibly play for you on Saturday, assuming that Christian and DJ are still going to be out. Like we talked about Saturday, you got a senior in Tyson, you got a couple freshmen as well.
Yeah.
When you're making that decision for Saturday, is it strictly going to be who gives us the best chance to win this game, or are you thinking at all about building for the future? Maybe get some of these freshmen in there, get them some experience, and get some film on them. Is there any thought about building for the future, or is it strictly who can win on Saturday?
No, who can win on Saturday, man? You can. I said it, Tanner. Like as coaches, you're highly competitive, right? You want to give your team the best opportunity to win. Nobody ever is going to throw in the towel. But I tell you this: those guys on scholarship that we have behind those two guys. So one of those guys is going to get a great opportunity, and we're going to do what we do. I mean, that's why we call coaches. Like every kid, they're in the meetings. So whether you play or not, you're in the same meetings. So you have to go out there and be ready to execute our offense. And I'll be honest, man, those three guys that are going to be battling. And again, Christian's going to the doctor at 1. DJ went yesterday. It's just a sprain. So again, we'll see where he's at. But I know what I would do if I'm in that quarterback room. Man, I'm meeting with Coach Hull right now. I'm trying to figure out, like, hey, man, am I the guy? Like, Coach, let's get some film in. And that's what they've done all year. So again, our expectations are to go down to Montgomery, Alabama, play a really, really good football team. Still don't know if they're going to be representing, the East, but they're good all the way around. So whoever behind that quarterback position, they're going to need all of us to play good around them. Our defense has to play well. The guys on special team has to play well so we can take some pressure off of them, whoever that guy is, whether it's DJ or Tyson or Landon or Garrison.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Terrence Harris.
Coach, how's it going?
They're going great.
Hey, you're just coming off of playing Prairie View. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you, like, when you watch them, whether it be on tape or in person, I mean, like, what were your impressions of that team and what Tremaine has been able to do with them in a relatively short amount of time?
Well, I mean, he's done a great job like all the other coaches. I mean, I tell people in this league, in the Western Division, because I don't play all the teams in the East, all right? Coach Cedric Thomas at Alcorn State, one of the best coaches there around. He does a really good job, all right? Grambling does a really good job. They play really good defense. Then you look at Texas Southern, Coach Dishman, they play really good defense. And so in the West, you're going to have to be able to play really good defense. And Coach Tremaine came in, and he's a defensive-minded guy. They play really good defense, and they're a little different than everybody else in this league with the 3-5-3. But I came out of that defense. So, like, where they're going to be, all right? Now, he's done a really good job of getting some really good players in there. Got some guys in the portal, but you still have to get those guys to gel together. And that's what I told him before the game, man. He's a tremendous coach, and he's a better person. Like I said, I probably only had 4 conversations with him, but they all been enjoyable every time I've had a conversation with him and people, talk about him. And offensively, we were without 3 starters on defense. Both starting corners were out. Our starting D lineman was out. Our starting receiver was out. I wasn't going to tell you guys that, but we didn't have a full deck. But even if the deck would have been we would have had to play our very best to beat him. So he's done a good job. He'll continue to do a good job, and he deserves the credit that he's getting.
What about though? Just kind of how he came in. I know a lot of, it was said that he maybe rubbed some coaches the wrong way in this league. By immediately talking about Atlanta and dominating the SWAC and all of these things. Did you hear much of that? And what were your thoughts early on as he was coming in?
Hey, listen, man, we're grown men. He should be talking about his team. He should be making his team think that they're the best team. That's what he's supposed to do. I mean, I don't know why anybody would be offended. If you're offended, then go beat him. At the end of the day, this man, from every encounter I've had with him, he's been an outstanding person. I even called him on some kids, and we were trying to take in the portal that was coming from his place. So I don't get into all that, man. Like I said, I'm trying to be Christ-like, man. I don't got time to be hating on anybody, doing any of that stuff. And he didn't rub me the wrong way. And it is what it is. He has the best team in the West this year. He deserves all the credit that he's getting. And every coach I know in the West, highly competitive. Every coach I know in the East, highly competitive. So you may see some join every now and then, but man, it's a lot of respect in this conference amongst the head coaches and assistant coaches and our players. And when you have things that happen that are unfortunate, man, that's when we all still have to rally, behind each other and make sure our brand is the correct brand. And these coaches are leaders.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, man. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you. All right, next we go over to Mississippi Valley State and Coach Buckley. Once again, questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Buckley with Mississippi Valley State. First off, Coach, apologies for the delay. We appreciate your patience and good morning.
Hey, man, we're used to that. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach.
Real recap of the game. It's kind of been a theme of this season. We played really, really well for a half and then just fall apart. It's like we forget how to tackle, run, block, make adjustments, do all those things. So we as a staff, coaches, we have had meetings earlier today starting like how can we put together 4 quarters, 60 minutes. That's all things. Let's play 60 minutes.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. First question goes to Perry.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Coach, as we're coming to the end of your first season as a head football coach in the SWAC, talk to us about what the off-season looks like for Mississippi Valley State.
Getting better, self-evaluation, which I started a couple of weeks ago with myself, recruiting, I should say the evaluation process, really, really paying attention to last 2 weeks we played obviously the top 2 teams in this conference, and we're about to go play the top one on this east side and the west side. So really, really gauging what it takes, what's separating the top teams from us and hitting that running. I'm talking about as soon as the last game is over.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you.
Question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everyone in the Delta are well. You have some gentlemen who are coming up on playing their last games and then graduating. Talk a little bit about just continuing to work with them and what it's like to see those guys as they play their last games in some cases.
Man, it's pretty special. Some of the guys, obviously, I just met this year and how they've conducted themselves as student athletes and people involved in the community, second to none. Highlight one of them is Marco Dubach, who is a punter that's done a tremendous job for us. And then his partner in crime, who's probably the best field goal kicker in the conference, but probably in college football, I would take him as Marco Jovacek is should be All-American kicker. How they've handled themselves on and off the field, along with Isaiah, has been made this tough season bearable. And I'm excited about the future for those guys, and also for us.
All right, Coach. Good luck with everything you're doing at Valley.
Thank you.
Question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach Buckley. Good to talk to you again, sir.
You too.
Hey, Coach, I just want to generalize my question like this. We know this season is what it was. We know the record is what it was. We know the performance have been what it was. But with 2 weeks remaining in your season, what can you really say to the fans, the followers, and everyone out here about why there should be a lot of optimism moving forward with your program at Mississippi Valley State?
I think you have to go back to when I first arrived, looking at Valley and what they've been doing for the last, let's say, decade, and what we're doing recruiting-wise, which is going to come up in 2 weeks, and the signs. Did we show any signs of being a very good football team? And did we do that against the top flight competition? Which, if you look at J-State and look at last week, yes, we had glimpses. You know, when you don't have any glimpses or any hope, then you don't. And then one of the best quarterbacks, I think, in our conference who got banged up against Jackson State on the first play. So there are signs out there, I would say, that would tell me that, okay, yes, they are doing some good things. The competitiveness is there. The schematic stuff is there. There's some things we got to add. You know, like we was talking about, from the traveling to a bigger coaching staff and all those things that we will add next year. But there is a foundation that has been laid, and I think if you understand that aspect, then you'll be pretty excited about the future.
All right, Coach, and I'll finish with this. Talk about this game this week, going down there to Prairie View. Obviously, they just clinched the West Division title.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the opportunity that this is for you guys to play a quality opponent like Prairie View.
Well, all of them are quality opponents, you can see. So for us, it's another opportunity for seniors to play, another opportunity for us to keep gelling as a staff, and also just still figuring out this league, what makes this league tick. You know, what's going to get us over the edge. So there's a lot to play for, and you sign up for 12 games, so let's go out and compete.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you as always, and good luck down there at Prairie View this week.
Thank you.
Coach, as always, appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking again next week.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next we go over to Prairie View A&M. Coach Jackson, once again, if you do have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Jackson with Prairie View A&M. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, appreciate your time. If you could start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent outing versus Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah, we had a really good game, really good opponent in Arkansas Pine Bluff. Come to town, and we were looking to play better at home. We hadn't really played as well as I would have liked at home. Those guys started fast. They got a big stop on us, and they came to play. So my hat goes off to Coach Hampton and the job that he's doing. I think he's doing it the right way with just watching how he coaches his kids. We were able to get a lead and kind of not look back from it, but those guys really had us on our heels, especially in the third quarter. And so we got a lot of things we got to continue to get better at and continue to address within our program to make sure we're always prepared for anything. And so we're back to the drawing board. Got another really good opponent in Mississippi Valley coming in here, and we get another opportunity to play at home.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. And first question goes to Perry.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Happy Founders Day.
Rude to the good brothers. I appreciate it.
Rude to the good brothers. All right, let's talk about, you've got a game this week, and in the MEAC, there's a really big football game this week in Dover. I know that your goal is to be the Celebration Bowl champions. How do you monitor that game, since that'll be the last time those MEAC schools play prior to the Celebration Bowl, and stay focused on this week's opponent?
Yeah, it's quite easy for us. We don't pay attention to things that aren't about this week in Mississippi Valley. I know for us as coaches, and me being the head of this program, we're in no position, nor have we ever been at Prairie View A&M, to be looking forward and looking past anything other than what's in front of us. That's been the message since we got here. That'll continue to be the message as long as I'm here. That's not how you win championships, which we know a thing or two about from what we've done in our career. And so you win championships by taking care of what's in front of you. And what's in front of us right now is a Tuesday practice that allows us to get ready for a really hard playing football team in Mississippi Valley. And so whatever happens across the country, when we get off the field on Saturday, I look at scores. That's what I do from every level, because I got friends coaching on a lot of levels. And so in that, looking at scores somewhere about 8 o'clock at night on Saturday, maybe I'll see what the other score was. But as far as, going into the game, we got a really good football team. They're not coming here. Mississippi Valley isn't coming here to just have a good showing. Coach Buckley's trying to get his program and excel his program into the next season. I know they've got another game left, but this time of year when things start getting clinched and people start winning things and meaningful football is played, if you're not in that conversation, then you have to get ready for next year. Well, we don't want to be the program that somebody gets they get better in the offseason because they beat us. And so we got to stay locked in so we don't get locked out of a great opportunity.
Thank you, Coach. Great answer, and good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you.
Question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on all your success so far. Happy Founders Day. From the standpoint of coaching up your seniors, these gentlemen are about to play some of their last games, but can you talk a little bit about what you look forward to with that group? I mean, the entire group, but the seniors, and then also some of those gentlemen will be blessed to graduate soon.
Yeah, we got a lot of graduates on our team. I think we got 40-something graduates already on our team, and guys that still have multiple years left. And then Saturday, we'll say goodbye at Panther Stadium to 30 seniors. Half of those guys were here when we got here, and the other half we brought here. And what they all have in common is they all bought into something that they really couldn't. They couldn't see it. There had been no SWAC championship success since 2009. Those guys were in the first grade when that happened. So they came in, they bought in, they either stayed or they came and bought into exactly what we were selling. And now they see here the West champions with a chance to win 9 games at Prairie View A&M, which hadn't been done since 2009. And so really excited for those guys. Glad that Saturday isn't our last game, and we've settled that. But we certainly are looking forward to having a great showing on Senior Day and sending those guys out of Panther Stadium in the right manner.
Appreciate what you're doing with that program, Coach. Good luck versus Valley.
Thank you.
Question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach Jackson, how are you today, sir?
Good morning.
Congrats on clinching the West Division title as well. So my question for you is just pretty simple. How do you plan on using this last regular season game to prepare yourselves for the SWAC championship, considering that you also will have a bye week before that SWAC title game?
Yeah, we plan on trying to win by any means necessary. One thing about us, man, like I said a minute ago, Prairie View A&M has not won 9 games since 2009. A lot of our kids were like in the first or second grade. I was a young coach then. I remember when they did that. Coach Frazier was here. It's been a long time. And so anytime you got a chance to do something that hadn't been done in a long time, you want to do that, because just like everybody else that might not be playing in the championship game is trying to propel themselves for the offseason and in recruiting, we certainly want to do those things as well while trying to win. And so we're going to go out here and get ready to play as this is the championship game, because that's just the way we do things within the program. It's funny you asked me that, because my neighbor asked me, well, we're going to sit people out because it doesn't matter if we win. And me and my neighbor ain't friends today, because every everything matters. We don't sit people out. That's not how we go about our business. This ain't the NFL. I don't understand why they do it there, to be quite honest. Competitors compete. And we certainly want a chance to win, man. We still got a lot of things we got to get cleaned up, and to have a regular season opportunity against a really good opponent that's going to present some challenges, to see our guys respond to those and try to win, man, that's invaluable. So we certainly going to put our best foot forward, because we know Coach Buckley is going to have them putting their best foot forward. Should be a really good football game on Saturday.
Yeah, Coach, I knew you weren't talking about sitting anybody out. I was just asking just about, like, the preparation, but you answered it well. So I appreciate you as always, and good luck this week in your game against Valley.
Thank you.
Question goes to Terrence.
Sorry about that. Hey, Coach, I know the mission is still ongoing, so it's not complete. But I wanted to find out from you. I mean, I remember your opening press conference and the statements that were made, the promises that were made about the success that this program was going to have. I wanted to know what was it that made was pretty much sight unseen, that this team could be on the track that it's on.
Yeah, Terrence, I will tell you, man, I'm living off the prayers of my grandmother. Man, I know what I prayed for, and I know what's been prayed for me. Coaching is a calling for me. I ain't no preacher, man. My pulpit is outside on this field, and we're developing men. We're giving guys opportunities to have great futures. Some been in trouble, some transferred, some came here from high school. We just got a different way of doing things, and the difference is we actually believe in that. And so I didn't make any promises. I just told people what was going to happen. We've been here before, and it's no disrespect to anybody. We just really believe in what we believe in. And so it's shocking to me, just like it's shocking to some people that we said what we said. It's shocking to me that people don't believe us. So we just all have to go and play the game the way that we play. This is a really good conference. We got really good coaches, man. These coaches have coached at places I've only dreamed of. But the calling on my life is special, and I believe in it. And who am I not to voice when you have a calling on your life? And so I believe in what we believe in. We mentor kids, and we get great messages, and got guys coming back that have played for us at other places. They're coming to see us here at Prairie View A&M. Got a lot of Prairie View A&M people that are really excited, and they should be, because our institution is elite. And so I don't know if we made any promises. We just kind of said what was going to happen, and when those things started to happen, and as they're happening, it's no surprise to me. There wasn't a lot of celebrating on Saturday. I don't know if you were there or not, Terry. Like, guys took pictures. The trainers and the cheerleaders took more pictures with the trophy than us. Man, we did what we did, and we went right back to work, because we know we're not done. We got a really good team coming in here this week, and then we get a bye week, and then we got to go and put it on the line against somebody, whoever that may be, and we'll all find out at the same time. When you say that, all I can tell you is that there's a calling on my life. I understand it. And as we talk, we're talking because of the prayers of other people and the calling that is on my life. And that's why it's really convicting to me, because I know whose I am, as they say.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Last question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good morning, Keisha.
Good afternoon here from Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on winning the West. Coach, when I interviewed you, you talked about how people weren't talking about Prairie View football during the summertime.
No.
Fast forward to November, and people can't stop talking about Prairie View football. What are the guys talking about? How are the guys feeling? Because you just talked about how they didn't really celebrate. It wasn't that many pictures. How are you keeping those guys locked in now that you know that you're playing in the championship game, first season as head coach at Prairie View? How are you keeping those guys' heads locked in for the rest of this season?
So we talk a lot about how we play and how we do things, how we ball. And the way that we ball is a day-to-day approach, hour to hour. Enthusiasm is play to play, not day to day, right? So what we try to do is teach our guys to be like enthusiasm. Take every play, take every hour, every single day, and make it a life of its own, and try to be better in those moments, right? And so we understand that people that get caught up in looking while they're driving, looking at other things, might get into a wreck. And we don't want to wreck. We want to keep our eyes focused on the matter at hand. And we call it being locked in so we don't get locked out of an opportunity. And those guys have really bought into it, and it took them a while. It wasn't immediate. It took them a while to really understand what it is that we were talking about. But that's not just a football lesson that we're teaching them. We're teaching them a real life lesson. Culture here is confrontational. And so in the confrontations that we've had, they've had to learn some hard lessons, and now they believe in what we're saying. And so hopefully it continues. Hopefully those guys show the new guys as they start to come in January how we do things. But the reason why we've been able to do the things that we've done is because of the buy-in. Those guys don't want to be locked out, so they stay locked in.
Well, good luck on this upcoming weekend. Happy Founders Day. And if you do make it to Atlanta, I remember our conversation, Coach.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Coach, appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you. Go Panthers.
Thank you. Next, we go over to Southern University and Coach McNair. Once again, questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. All right, I believe we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach. I think you might be on mute, Coach. Can you hear us, Coach? Okay, for some reason you're on mute. Will it allow you to unmute your line there? Coach, can you try logging off and logging back in? Okay, thanks, Coach. Are we going to work to get Coach McNair with us? Apologies for the technical difficulties. All right, we're going to work to get Coach McNair on with us. We do appreciate patience. I do believe that we have Coach Dishman with us on. Coach Dishman, can you hear us?
Yes, how things going?
Doing great, Coach, and appreciate you taking time to join us.
My seventh flood. Dozens of people held a birthday party.
Opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing at Southern.
Attendees memorialized credit by
Well, we bussed down into Louisiana, played a good team down there at Southern. I was fortunate enough to come out with a victory. You know,
lawsuits against
so
the lawsuit accused.
I'd like to also tell congratulations to our debate team who won their 5th World Championship here at Texas Southern. So congratulations to our debate team of doing that. And so we was able to pull out a victory over there in Southern.
Outstanding. Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Perry.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, talk to us about what the off season looks like for your program in preparing for next year's season.
Well, one, we have to, I'm working the phones and working people as far as people come and donate here. We have to get a stadium here somewhere on campus or get a home stadium. That's first and foremost what we have to do at Texas Southern. is get a stadium. You know, we're 0-3 in the stadium that we're in right now, the Shell Energy Stadium. Probably because we haven't get a chance to go down there and practice in it. So it's a home stadium, but it's not really a home stadium. So we're working the phones of trying to get a stadium here.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you with that.
Thank you.
Question goes to James.
NFL game.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody on campus are well. Can you talk a little bit about your group of seniors? These gentlemen have an opportunity to play against Alabama A&M, and some of those gentlemen will graduate soon. Just talk about that group of individuals.
The seniors are a very special group to me, you know, because they're the one who controls the team and holds the team together. I let our seniors and our council pick the uniforms and pick a lot of stuff here because it's a player-led team. We as coaches just try to guide them in the right direction. So they've done a lot for this team. So it would be very special if we could sell out Shell Energy Stadium and have the seniors go out in style.
Thank you, Coach. Have a great week.
Question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach Dishman, how are you today, sir?
Wayne, I'm doing good. And you?
Doing well. Hey, so you said that you were going to take over, you know, the punt and the kickoff team this past game, and talk a little bit about that onside kick that you guys recovered.
No,
because I thought that was a difference in turning the tide of the game.
Well, not the punt. I wasn't going to take over punt, the kickoff, but I did take over our kickoff, and that call was made, but I can't take credit on that call. That call was made by receiver coach and recruit coordinator Jaron Wilson to do the squib kick. So he made that call to do that. So that's who I have to have the credit for.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck to you this week against Alabama A&M.
Thank you.
ABC 13.
Kelly.
Don't forget tonight, week 11 of the NFL wraps up right here on ABC 13. The Cowboys head to Las Vegas.
Goes to Keisha Kelly.
All righty. Oh.
Monday Night Football starts at
All
7.
right, next question goes to Terrence.
All right, so it's going to be inside.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Hey, Terrence, how are you?
Good. Hey, can you talk about just the you know, this week and the opportunity to do something that hasn't been done at Texas Southern in a while, and that's win with a winning record, and what that would mean for the program.
Well, it means a lot for the program. It means a lot for the alums more than anything. You know, it means a lot for our seniors and our guys here because they could be the first ones in however many years to have a winning record. But our goals is much higher than that, and they understand that. But at least we can accomplish something this year.
Yeah, but I mean, and obviously, and that's what I was going to say. It just seems like it's a big step. I mean, in terms of just kind of where the program has been to even get to this point. I mean, so what does that say also about just kind of the direction that you guys are going?
Well, we know we're going in the right direction. We need help. We know we're going in the right direction. We have some good people. I got a good staff here that's doing things right and doing right by these players. You know, APR APR is going to be up. We have more graduates than we have had over in the past years that anyone's graduating. So that's always exciting to see these young men go out in the world with a degree.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll take what we can get. Now we also have a lot of cloud cover overhead, but we
Question goes to Dr. Cavill.
As we head into the afternoon.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
So high temperatures, it's going to be
job by all involved with that game. I had a chance to briefly talk with you before going into it, and you talked about, regardless of records, this was going to be a tough matchup. And you're going to have to find a way for your team to come in there and do the things that you talked about in practice. But obviously, the way you closed out fighting back, players playing excellent on various sides of the ball. And now you get a chance to push that forward to close out the season in a very strong manner. Can you talk a little bit about how do you take the momentum you had in closing that game out and moving this for your seniors in their last home game?
Well, we know that Alabama A&M is going to come up here and try to spoil our senior night. So we got to be able to be on our P's and Q's and not let that happen first and foremost, because they're a good team. So we know it's going to be a fight to the end. You know, it's how the SWAC West is made up. You know, you got very good teams in this area, play some very good football, and there's no team that's more dominant than the next. We're all pretty much equal.
even 3 inches of rain over the
No doubt about that. Good point, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Take care.
Which, as always, appreciate your time. Of course, speak to you again next week.
All right, have a great one.
Thank you.
Severe storms.
Next, we're going back to Coach McNair. I do see that we have him with us. Morning, Coach. Can you hear us?
Morning. I can hear you guys. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you working to get on with us. Coach, if you could start us out with an opening statement, recapping your team's most recent outing versus Texas Southern.
Yeah, I thought it was a hard fought, evenly matched ball game in terms of both institutions playing a good game. It was senior day for us. We had 17 seniors that's going to be leaving us this year, and kind of hated for them guys to go out with a loss as a senior. But I thought the guys, they played very hard. We had several chances there before halftime to score a touchdown. We threw a pick right there to go up at least 14 points before half. We threw a pick there, and then defense did a great job of stopping them on that pick, going to halftime with a 7-point lead, and then we get the ball coming back out after halftime and kind of sputtered there for a little while. But it was a great game. Coach Disman did a great job with his guys on that side. Played a real hard fought ball game. Hats off to those guys for playing a real clean ball game.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Perry.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, this past week, Toy Lloyd Brown did an article in The Advocate, the local newspaper there in Baton Rouge, talking about it's been since 1949 since the Southern University football team has not won a home football game. Can you talk about the state of the program there on the Bluff?
As far as the program, I think the kids, they still upbeat. I mean, expectation always been high here at Southern. It's been a long time since it's been like this. But I never seen it being this way and not being a part of it. You kind of hate it that we're in the state we are in now, but I think that, we just got to continue to push forward. We got to go back out and recruit players and get better from all aspect of the ball game. We got to do a great job this offseason in recruiting. So that's going to be a big part of it. So, we just got to continue to push on and keep fighting.
Thank you, Coach. Well, you don't play this week, so I won't wish you luck. We'll talk again prior to the Bayou Classic.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to James.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everyone there on campus are well. When you look at the evolution of Black quarterbacks, you were successful. Your brother was successful. Shador had an opportunity to play yesterday. Just can you talk about the HBCU quarterbacks and what you think of Shador's opportunity and again, just the evolution of the Black quarterback?
Just playing against him when, in college, he thought he did a great job of identifying things when he was at Jackson State and understanding the concept of everything he was in. But just the fact that, traditionally now it's more of a running type quarterback game now. I'm not saying that he can't run, but the mobility part of it plays a big factor in it as well. So right now you have to be able to run the football as a quarterback to get away from some of the danger that you're in offensively. So, but it's always been a big stigma of Black quarterbacks in the NFL. So hopefully, it'll continue to rise with our society in terms of Black college quarterbacks coming out playing to the next level.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week.
This question goes to Wayne.
Hey, Coach, how's everything today?
It's going good today right now.
That's pretty good. So listen, obviously you have a bye week and then you have the Bayou Classic coming, but I just want to ask about just the immediate Fred McNair future. What does it look like right now? Is it just a week to week thing, or is it just really hey, I'm just going to evaluate everything for my future after the Bayou Classic?
Well, that's part of it. I evaluate myself after every game, on Saturday, and see what can I do to get these young men to play better, to keep them focused in terms of what we got to do for the next week. So we got a chance this week to get all the the guys that's beat up healed and get well and get these guys back to the playing surface. So that's going to be a big part of it this week, making sure we kind of modify things down to where we get these guys back healthy and not beat each other up this week in terms of practice. But we just got to make sure we stay focused on the task at hand, watch a lot of film on Grambling and this week and see how it works out for the upcoming week as practice goes on.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll talk to you next week. Good luck with getting everything together with your team this week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
This question goes to Keisha.
Hey, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Good here in Atlanta. So, Coach, we know you're in the bye week, but you're getting ready for a Bayou Classic where you do face, of course, it's the big rivalry with Grambling. So how are the guys staying locked in, prepared as they prepare? Because we know the records go out the window with exit 81 up the street. How do you prepare for that Grambling team and keeping those guys locked in?
The biggest thing is there's a self-motivation game, when you're playing your arch rivalry here in Louisiana, just kind of keep these guys focused on the task at hand and not try to get them too excited about this game. But, it's an up game. So hopefully these guys will be ready to play. And we as coaches got to make sure they are ready to play. So that's going to be the biggest focus points on this week, going into next week, making sure we keep these guys humble and understand that we got a very important ball game to play. Our last ball game, the Bayou Classic.
All right. Well, good luck, Coach. I'll see you guys in New Orleans.
Thank you.
Last question goes to Dr. Cavill.
This is Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach McNair.
Good morning.
Coach, I know you've been familiar with the league, been part of championships, building championship programs, a lot of ups and downs. But I wanted to get your thoughts just from a historical perspective, at least recently, if you would. There are 4 teams in the SWAC that have 7 wins or more. There are 4 teams that are looking to finish at 500 or better. And even if you go over to the MEAC, you have 3 teams with 7 wins or more. What do you see with the state of HBCU football overall in terms of the depth of the talented teams? You've always had really good teams, but it seems like the depth week to week with teams across the league has become that much more challenging when you look at matchups. Could you attest, is that the case from your perspective? And if so, what do you think that attributes to?
It's almost like the dynasty left in the NFL where you have free agency now and with the NIL deal going on now, you don't have those dominant teams that just really stands out with multi-talent, from the standpoint of HBCUs, we lose a lot of kids to those Power Fives and schools and due to the fact that, we're producing good young men out of the institution of the HBCUs. And that's a good credit to us that we got guys like that can go and play at the next level, So I look at it from that standpoint, nothing negative about it, but just the standpoint that when you see guys leave the black college universities and go into those other schools, you have talent at these schools. I just wish that they would somehow, with the NIL deal, that we can get these kids to stay and we can produce more kids to stay at our schools at the HBCU. So it's a kind of a domino effect where, all the teams are competitive. All the HBCUs are competitive now, no matter what. That's why you don't have the schools that just really stands out with 10-0 records now. It's all a competitive league now. So it's been that way for a while. But just to being a dominant HBCU school, I really don't see it because of you losing kids every year.
Thank you, Coach. Great information, great perspective. Appreciate you. Have a great one. Look forward to matchup in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
As always, appreciate your time, Coach. Look forward to speak to you again next week.
All right, man. Sorry about last week, man. I had a flaw in my laptop or something, so I couldn't get it quite to work. I'm sorry about that, guys.
No problem, Coach. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. All right, next we go over to Jackson State. Coach T.C. Taylor, once again, if you have questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue. With that being said, happy to be joined by Coach Taylor with Jackson State. First off, congratulations on your induction into the Jackson State Hall of Fame, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Coach, if you could start us out with an opening statement recapping your team's most recent outing versus Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, it was a good win for us this weekend, man. Hats off to that program. I mean, they really got it going and pointing in the right direction because they came to play this past weekend. Gave us all we could handle. But for us, it was good being back in front of our home crowd. We were back in the vet here in Jackson, Mississippi. Felt good about our defensive performance. Those guys was flying around for 4 quarters of football, creating turnovers. We were able to generate a score on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, we had some explosive plays. I think we ran for almost 400 yards in that football game, 3 backs over 100 yards. So we're in a good place right now, but we're getting ready for, a really good Alcorn team coming in here this weekend. So we locked and loaded for this Soul Bowl coming up on Saturday.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. First question goes to Wayne.
Coach TC Taylor, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Can you give us an update on Jacoby and Morgan, and also, Coach, just talk about now that you're at the doorstep of win and you're in the SWAC title game, how do you manage the emotions of everybody in the building with that?
Jacoby is doing well. He'll have another doctor's appointment this week. I think it's on Wednesday. We'll try to move him around a little bit in practice and see where he's at on that. But it's up to the doctors. That's kind of out of my hand. As they give me the information, we'll go from there. Until then, we'll get the guys that's healthy ready to play. The part about this weekend, we all know what's at stake for us. It's a win and go home deal. We got enough guys off last year's team that had a ton of success, winning a Natty, winning the East Division Championship, winning the SWAC Championship, so they kind of even kill. They came in yesterday, watched a little tape, we moved around on the football field a little bit. So they locked in, know what's at stake and know we got to play good football this weekend.
All right, Coach, as always, I appreciate you. Good luck in the Soul Bowl.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Question goes to Perry.
Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Perry.
Good afternoon at this point, I guess.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing super fantastic, Coach. I'm going to ask you about the challenges of preparing to play your arch rival this week, while knowing that you have, if you're successful this week, to take on a Western Division opponent in Prairie View next weekend, or in a couple of weekends, while the MEAC is playing a de facto championship this weekend. And I know that winning all 3 of these games are high on your priority list coming into the season. So talk about those challenges, Coach.
I wouldn't say so much as a challenge for us. Like I said, the blessing for us is a lot of guys experienced that all last year. And again, it's a win or go home deal for us. Everybody knows about that Soul Bowl rivalry, the Alcorn Jackson State rivalry. I know Coach Thomas is going to have those guys playing well. They're playing great football. I think they've won 3 or 4 games in a row up to this point. And, so they're playing at a high level. They didn't forget about what happened last year. So I know they got this one marked on their schedule for us coming in here. The layout of this whole deal for us, SWAC Championships, Celebration Bowl, it is what it is. That's what I say it all the time. I tell my team just like that. No matter what's the dates or whatever, you go out here and you take care of business this weekend. You got to be ready in 2 weeks for a SWAC Championship. And then right after that, you got to be ready to go play for a national championship. And I thought we did a good job of that. And I think we have the team to build, the team right now that's built to go do that again.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon, Doc. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Certainly, I've been able to battle back after a tough loss in Las Vegas. It reminds me of Houston Rockets head coach Rudy Tomjanovich that said, "Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion," which became a rallying cry in the city of Houston. You may be somewhat familiar with that over a period of time. But I say that all in different ways. You are the champion. Obviously, it doesn't help in any way, but it's a mentality, understanding how you fight through adversity. Can you talk about how you can utilize that in addition to the game plan to play a rivalry game that always has had its ups and downs and historic moments and big wins, tough losses. How do you compartmentalize that in such a way with, as you said, kids that on social media so they see and hear everything about them focusing on the moment so they can do the little things to be successful in a big time game?
Well, I always talk about the controllables with our team, you know, and that was something, you know, we felt like we was in good position going into that game in Vegas. But, you know, hats off again to Grambling. They came out there and took care of business with us. We lost our quarterback in that game, and, you know, it wasn't no time to tuck tail. You know, the expectation for Jackson State is still to go, you know, dominate each and every weekend, whether whoever's at quarterback or whoever's on the field. And that's the mentality our young men have. You know, that's why I love this team so much. They wiped the blood off, you know, after that weekend, and we got back to work. They still had, you know, the hopes and dreams of going out here and winning the East Division championship, and that's what they speak on every day. That's the way that they prepare going into each and every game. You know, no matter who's at quarterback. Again, like I said, we're gonna rally around that guy and go play our best football. I do think our team is still, you know, equipped to go finish this thing out. We just got to avoid the letdowns, and that's what I explained to him after a Grambling loss. Any cushion you had going into that game is gone now. You know, each and every week from this point on, you got to play, you know, like it's a playoff game. And that's how we've been approaching these games, Doc. Each and every week since Grambling has been a championship game. And so, you know, you lose again, you going home, or you can win and continue to extend your season.
Like a week-to-week playoff in a lot of ways.
No doubt. That's what it is, playoff football.
Exactly. Thank you, Coach, for your time. Good luck this weekend. Certainly look forward to the matchup.
All right. Thank you, Doc. Be safe.
Take care.
Question goes to James.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everyone in Jackson are well. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. Talk a little bit about this rivalry, Jackson State and Alcorn, and what makes it different and, you know, why it's so important.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like more of a family divided. You got so many families that split down the middle that, you know, went to Alcorn, and this brother might have went to Jackson State, that sister went to Alcorn. Heck, my wife went to Alcorn, I went to Jackson State. So it's more of a family divided type rivalry, you know. I got a lot of great friends on that side that went to that school and, you know, vice versa. But when it comes down to it, everybody looks forward to this game. You know, it's the last game of the season that's on the schedule. You know, the turnout is going to be crazy, you know, and they're not far down the road from us and vice versa. So, you know, I think that's the piece that makes it so cool as a rivalry, so great as a rivalry. And then you talk about some of the great players that played in it, you know, Steve McNair, all the greats that's played here at Jackson State as well. So it's a big family divided deal. You know, you'll have people from both schools sharing the same tailgate, but then, you know, when you go into that stadium, they're going to part ways and go to their respectable sides and get after for 4 quarters.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week.
All right, you as well. Thank you.
Last question goes to Terrence Harris.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, I'm working on a story and just wanted to ask you, at what point do you start to evaluate, you know, like guys who might jump into the transfer portal, guys who, you know, who perform to a level where they may be looking to step up? I mean, when do you start to kind of evaluate that and start to you know, figure out who you might have, you know, going forward versus who, you know, who might stay?
In my experience, there's no way to prepare for it. You know, you react. It's more of a reaction. There's no way to prepare for it because, you know, the kids have all the power when you're talking about that transfer portal. You know, but I think what they did now, you know, taking that spring transfer portal away kind of may complicate things a little bit on, you know, for us kids have to make a decision in December. So it may be a little more transparent for us and understanding who's going to be here and who's not. But, you know, the kid can wake up any morning, any hour of the day and say he wants to go in that portal when those opportunities come. So you just read and react from it, and you go out and, you know, try to get the best replacement, whether you go in the portal to get a young man out of there or you try to get a high school kid in here to replace those guys.
You know, and I thought what Coach McNair just said a little bit ago was interesting, too. Wanted to get your thoughts on it. Just what does this say? I mean, you're seeing so many conferences and schools, whether it's FCS or you know, or the FBS, who are coming in and basically trying to raid the SWAC for players. What does that say about the level of where the SWAC is at this point? I mean, it seems like it speaks well to it, but I'm sure it's a headache for you guys too.
Not so much as for if you look at it overall, it's not a huge raid of your team like that. I think we only lost a couple guys. A receiver, I think, that ended up going on to move up. So it's really not a huge just raid of it. It's just the mindset of the young man, where he wants what's best for them. Of course, you have those top tier guys. Are going to be recruited. They're going to be recruited by that. But in the end, we protect ourselves by continue to just recruit at a high level. We don't mind playing freshman high school kids here. We go in the portal and, like I said, find the young man that fits for us. But it's about adapting at this point because that's just the name of the game. But for us, it hadn't been a complete overhaul where you have 9, 10 guys just leave, go FBS. You may have a number of guys that say they want to go to the portal and, try to figure it out from there. And it's up to us as coaches to go out here and replace those guys with guys that you can develop and continue to be competitive as a program.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you.
Coach, appreciate your time. Look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right. Thank you. Y'all take care.
Yes, sir. This concludes our SWAC football head coach.